Clips though, missing is real tanky, and with the ultimates coming on through, Bin just can't do anything. Actually stays alive, and now he's on to Teachermart as well. Knock up from Morgan, bullet time over 3 of them, and Teachermart falls. Maybe this is the fight. Maybe Suning have found it. In with the Cataclysm, Huanfeng's here, Morgan's gonna fall as well. And Suning, the Baron is still alive. Missing has nothing, Jomung's nearly dead.
Munchables, the higher power is showing up. Suning pretty much getting the fight they wanted, which is really weird because WE did peel off the Baron altogether, but they didn't all commit to the fight. All coming in at different angles gave Suning the room to work with.
He's got to sever him here. Jomung could make this happen alongside Base Shunk. Chrono Break still available. 4,000 on the Baron. Stun comes through. Angel shows up. That's exactly what I was asking for. Now 2K on the Baron. In goes Base Shunk, but it's taken by SOFM. Kill onto the Echo. And suddenly, Suning looking great. SOFM stopped from recalling the Baron. No! Huanfeng! He stole the lantern away from SOFM. I think he could have finished his recall. He still had his flash.
Yeah, Huanfeng, a bit of a mistake there. But hey, he's an 80 carry, that's what happens. And like, this is great for Suning. They pick up a bunch of kills, they get the gold lead a bit smaller, they have the Baron, but WE are still going to get this next Infernal Drake, are going to be 1 dragon away from Soul, and still have the superior scaling.
I'm going to have to eat my words here, because I said there was not going to be that many more dragons, but with a fight like that for Suning, maybe the game goes on, and maybe WE need these drakes.
Yes, they do, but in terms of if a straight-up team fight should break out, I would still favor WE. But again, that situation shows us, right? This isn't perfect League of Legends played by robots. There's going to be mistakes, there's going to be skirmishes, some messy fights, and Suning still has a way to come out ahead.
And it's important to mention that WE sometimes play a little bit fast and loose, and quite often we've seen Teachermart go in a little bit too deep with this Pantheon, and the team isn't there to follow up. During that fight, we saw them, they all committed to the fight, just at different times and in different ways. It was all a little bit disjointed.
Right, I wish we can see a replay for the fact that they did all get off the Baron, right?
Yeah.
They all committed to the fight. It just wasn't all together. It was just all over the place and a bit scattered. And it's surprising they weren't able to kill Bin when he was on like 2% HP for so long.
I thought that they were going to finish him off there, but did manage to survive the fight somehow. And, you know, Bin really was the factor there, because with the Dominus available with him, now he's finished Death's Dance as well. He's going to get even tankier. He's going to be even more difficult to deal with. He's getting ready to teleport.
Yep, he's looking for a TP. They had a chance.
Oh, no, what a pick. Huanfeng goes down. And the TP's not going to save you now in onto Sword Art. Nice play from him, but the box cannot get you out of this one. Double kill for Jomung. Oh, and after that miracle fight, it's all gone wrong for Suning. Just a slight misposition, and it's all over.
They had a small window where Teachermart was showing top, didn't have his TP up. They could have tried to force something, but Jomung and Morgan doing great to find that pick, and especially Jomung because he's a player you look at and still think, okay, he's had great moments, but is he going to become one of these greats? And if he could have good performances, right, you can't look down on him anymore.
This is a great performance. 9-0-4. Just got himself a triple kill during that last fight. And now, this is the victory lap for WE. Still a couple of death timers on the go. SOFM goes in. He knows that this is all but done. They don't care about SOFM. They're straight on towards the Nexus. This could have been a mistake. Respawns are coming on through, but the Nexus is so low. They are going to finish it off in the end. WE take game 1.
WE just doing exactly what we've known them for. They've played out this composition many times before. A lot of signature champions across the board, not only the Echo and Pantheon, but also Morgan, of course, on his Ornn. So WE just playing standard WE League of Legends and looking great.
Yeah, and obviously there was one kind of shaky fight there, but that's not that rare. When you talk about standard WE League of Legends, having 1 or 2 plays in a game that go a little awry is pretty normal for them.
And it's not something you got to worry too much about, right? It's something that just a bit of an execution mistake. You look over it and review, say, hey, we should have done this, this, and this differently. You come back better next time. But great performance from WE. And the thing that I'm shouldn't be slowly, but starting to realize with WE is that, okay, Teachermart has just enough champions that you realistically can't ban out all of the S-tier WE strategies.
Here's the problem with trying to draft around Teachermart is, as you rightly say, there's like kind of 5 champions in his pool. The way to play around him is just completely ban out Teachermart, right? But you do that, suddenly they have all of the power picks. You don't get to ban normal, really strong champions like things like the Kalista, things like the Graves, the Trundle, etc., etc. So it becomes very difficult then to play around the rest of the team. And it's not like Jolmung isn't going to step up when you give him Aphelios.
Yeah, so Suning has some tough questions ahead of them. But for WE, the question for me is going to be, over the long course of the split, can they add more to their arsenal to where they can make a deeper run in playoffs? Again, we have 4 seeds to Worlds this split. Yeah. Can they improve just enough to where they can secure a place like that?
We'll have to find out as the split goes on. I believe in them. We'll see, though, as obviously the win here going the way of WE. Jolmung, as you'd expect, topping the damage. When you're at Aphelios with those kind of items, it'd be embarrassing not to.
Yeah, and the surprising thing is how much damage kind of the other members of the team were kind of equally able to contribute, right? Morgan doing his part, Teachermon, Beishang as well, and my problem is there just isn't too much to say here because we've seen this so many times in Spring Split.
Yeah, I mean, I said I wanted to look at the gold graph earlier on. You can see about 18 minutes there. Massive jump in gold in favor of WE. And it was the little struggle at the Baron. You can see the dip, but other than that, smooth save.
There was a bit of a difference to where in Spring, when we saw them pull out the Echo and Pantheon, it felt like early game they were always able to execute on those mid lane ganks that we'd see again around level 4, level 5, find the advantage. This time, Beishang got shut down, but still, Suning not taking advantage of that small window to create any plays, and it finally created time for Teachermon to get that ultimate, and then we saw that play towards topside, just started snowballing around the whole map.
Yeah, and I mean, we actually saw Beishang do a couple of attempted ganks in the mid lane, but Angel, every single time, fully respecting it. He knew what was coming his way and playing it safe. And, you know, I kind of criticized Angel during the game, but I do feel like a lot of this game was sort of out of his control. He kind of just had to play the mid lane, just clear the waves, make sure that he's not losing control of everything. His CS was fine. Just when it came to the fights, it was more a team play issue.
I mean, Munch, there weren't really any fights is the problem, right? Yeah. We look at this composition, it spikes, not even necessarily at the 1 item mark, right? Once you get those ultimates, you want to look for these 4v4s and 5v5s. We just didn't see them.
Or we saw one at Dragon, basically, and then from that point on. But at least one of the positives here coming out from the side of WE, at least they're doing things together. Even the fight that didn't go quite as well as they wanted, at least they all went for it at the same time. Calls are on form, at least. We'll see if they can keep things rolling. We're going to go into game number 2 quite shortly, but first, we'll jump into a quick break.
直接是分割战场，另一边小狗从后方切入，这个时候这个太自信了，直接从后面切进来，顶着3个人输出，我这个还没有死，还在输出，还没死，我真的没有死。又着了地了，要被秒了，现在这个一招的有点尴尬，大招放出来能够换到1米，点燃能抓什么？漂亮，生我拿到人头，但是同样自己也要死。 然后往后一撤，又在选择强行换一下不光带走了，闪现出空，没有自保的3场，只要一口，还没有机会，还在秀，有后方5连肉，没有关系，在进场，还有5杀的机会，看看又在1米，3下不光没打出来，最后一下连到了，漂亮！开皇是怎么选择？想一 Q 被躲掉，被小白给 W 完被躲掉，逼走了以后，就想正面开团。 这边打起来，比谁肉，谁就比谁大个肉。老鼠被突起来，死了，没人打老鼠啊，没人打老鼠啊，龙也死了。哎，老鼠被秒了，被大15秒了。那可以，这时候可能站出来了，教练什么降咒？好，现在2个大哥在前面顶着，还活着，感觉一波出来，一波推后 KO， 回要输的，继续。这边打送过去，然后没有伤害，开大，但是人这里反正打漂亮，哇！我的天，这一波又在操作完美。
我看这一波垂直抢进来秒人，但是一个奥拉夫也是秒不掉。蛇女在侧翼被优哉直接切死，相互这里大招还差一点点的时间，不过1费的伤害太高了，完成 double kill，triple kill，double kill，4杀 kill， 完成了一波 ace。你觉得小狗这把有什么看好的环境吗？来 W 回来，卡米尔有没有大招吗？卡米尔推上去的，这个虚弱没有伤害，直接被小狗给 A 推了。哇，小狗这边在疯狂的 A 人，这个狮子狗全部残血，大招炸一下，炸到2个塔拼的上，妹夫这边可掉妹夫。完了，这边感觉小狗要跳起来了，要在第3场，好久没有看到小胖这样的一个操作了。这边继续跳，刚才是临死之前秒掉了优哉，最后已经有火炮了，这波可以打，对方落单了，也不能落单过来，秒掉这个落，有没有机会？有了，还是他直接秒掉，这边还能打，这边逼出了闪现，这边闪现超过哇，小狗好夸张，小胖跳起来了，又遇到2个人，这边击破，triple kill，一个上钩，一波速 素质3连。
为是想接盘，但是想的有点多，一剑命中的是小明，是麻辣香锅，麻辣香锅被炸回来了，但是大招保住了他，戳回去，皇子盖的不错，但这个位置凯南跟艾希的输出位置很好，两边 AD 都在疯狂切前排，九总跟赵鑫对倒，瑞兹也倒，优在输出非常的高，
一波一波，中路有兵线，我们可以过去，中路队赢了。
他是杠特推着很
来，
多，
太到了，由头帮忙把对方的一个输出给顶走，但是这个点上看上去一个大招，反身用大招走，于三这边挑闪现，往后面拉，于三没有死，哇，这不天秀了，拉到了神破，辅助节选秒掉，有在收割了，杀落漂亮。
Got a feeling nothing is forever. Keep your voice low. The sun is high, but I wish I could bathe in the moonlight. Ooh, this is it now. Come out of the shadow. Make the walls fall. Memory is headed for disaster. Heart is beating so. I hear the words, I see the ghost of laughter in the afterglow. So I hear the words, I see the ghost of laughter. This is it now, come out of the shadow. This is it now, come out of the shadow.
Slash X Nova looking like a juicy target up to the opposite side of the hill.
We're back at you with the LPL 2020 Summer Split, and we're into our 5th series of the split so far. I had to count quickly in my head there. It's Suning versus WE. WE 1-0 up right now, looking pretty good in their first game. I'm Munchballs. This is Lyric. And we were talking backstage earlier on today about how WE in the first 2 games EDG won 1 game and then kind of lost to themselves in game 2, and WE capitalized on that. Do you feel like Suning sort of lost to themselves here as well against WE?
No, I do feel like EDG the other day won 2 games, one against WE and 1 against themselves. But today here we saw WE playing proactively, just kind of constantly dictating the pace of the game. And again, they execute on their win conditions and very deserved win.
So do you think now moving into game number 2, for Suning, is it a matter of, okay, let's change the draft and play the style that we pretended to play here, like go for much more late game focus, or is it still draft this way and be proactive, do things in the early game and contest?
So this game we know Suning is going to be moving over to the blue side, and if it came to draft, what I would have liked to see is stick to red, just ban out some of Teacher Ma's champions, and like you said, then you're going to leave open a bunch of power picks for your red side. Let's say they get 1 power pick, you can grab, whatever the next 2 most valuable are. Hopefully and theoretically you come out ahead in the trade. You still have counter pick for what should be both your soul laners, and I'd feel good if I'm Suning in that position. But, on blue side, it feels like that situation's a bit more rough. Still, theoretically, you don't have to ban out as many power picks, so hopefully we can see them target out Teacher Ma a bit more.
We'll see if they can get rid of that Pantheon at least. And Pantheon and the Galio, I think, are the 2 that are the scariest. Let's talk, though, about our MVP for game number 1. It was Morgan in the top lane. I knew it before the game even started. Morgan, always the MVP in my heart. 1-1 and 10. But fantastic work on the Ornn, and just immaculate ultimates the entire game.
It's just a champion we've come to know him on. He's a great team fighter. He is so good at finding these windows to hover for his team around the map. We saw constantly, even when he couldn't find a play, just hovering around mid, looking for a good call of the Forge God. He would always be at the team fight when he's needed, and just some great engages coming out.
Yeah, phenomenal stuff from him. And we said right at the start of the day that it was him against Bin, how they can impact these fights, and it was definitely Morgan that was having the most significant impact. You can see Bin struggling to get on into this one, struggling to be able to do too much, and obviously Jomon cuts him down in the end. But Morgan, great ult towards the start, and great at using this ult for long-range picks.
Just, they're so experienced on this type of composition. It just, you know, it's not hard to understand how they easily snowballed that game.
Yeah, we'll see if they can still get this kind of composition, though, because as we've said before, a lot of people think that WE has been figured out. They do have a pretty one-track mind when it comes to the way they play the game. It still works, though. So will Suning be able to develop their draft? Will Suning be able to develop their in-game strategy to play around the way we know WE will play?
I actually completely agree with what you said before, that to me the two picks that stand out more than others are Galio and Pantheon. If you give him the ASOL, I think it's fine. It's not too big of a deal. We've actually seen him be quiet on that champion quite a few times, and he hasn't picked up things like the Rumble in quite a while. His only other champions he actually played were like Nocturne and Syndra, so...
And even, I mean, even when he played on the Rumble, I don't think it was his most impressive pick. It definitely felt like that was sort of the back burner champion when Galio and his Pantheon are unavailable to him. One of the big questions as well is, when that Pantheon is not locked in for the side of Teachamar, where does Beishun go as well? Because it seems to be this Echo Pantheon comes as a duo.
Yeah, but I want to move over to Suning real quick just to talk about another thing that happened that game. Was in their first series we saw Huanfeng on 2 scaling 80 carries. He played an Aphelios game and an Ezreal game.
Yeah.
Do we need to see him on something more like this to where he can be that insurance policy to carry the team across the finish line?
I'd love to see that, especially the Ezreal, and it's not banned away this time around. They're actually going to go for the Aphelios themselves, and I can agree with that decision, honestly, and especially banning the Pantheon, definitely the right call.
And this just seems like the way to go, right? Aphelios just becomes such a monster in the late game, scales up just as well alongside the Ezreal, but we've seen so many crazy highlight plays from the Aphelios, it just wouldn't make sense not to take it.
See what WE will answer with Morgan there on the camera. You can see him grooving away a little bit. Maybe he has some music going in his ears. But WE, they've got the signature for missing. It's also a takeaway from Sword Art with the Thresh.
And again, here I would expect to see an 80 carry. Trundle is one that Beishang... Again, when you think of Beishang, Trundle's not really the first pick that would come to mind, but I'd say if this team was more meta, that would be the champion you'd go towards.
And I mean, let's bear in mind, they've had a few weeks off, so it's very possible that they have more in the tank, and they're actually going to take away this Ezreal here. Jomon has looked great on the Ezreal in the past, but also Huanfeng, a power pick removed.
Well, I mean, they first picked their Aphelios.
Oh, yeah, I'm an idiot.
But still, they've already picked their 80 carry. You don't need to show anything on the side of WE, so taking the Ezreal just makes sense. So we have a bit more scaling in the bot lane, especially with that new Ezreal build, a bit more safe and defensive, so still going to be able to become a big menace in these mid-late game team fights.
The Bard being hovered, it was banned in game number 1 of the series. It's something that's been banned a fair few times so far this split, and I think we are going to see it locked in. The timer has vanished.
I'd be pretty surprised.
There we go.
So Sword Art is not historically a Bard player. Especially in LMS, it was never a champion he really gravitated towards himself.
It feels like Bard has moved away from just the Bard one-trick players playing him and has become a meta support, but we've yet to see too much of him. We did see him yesterday with reasonable performance, actually.
It's kind of weird because, again, there's some supports that clearly highly value it and are fine, again, blinding it or picking it into anything. And then some supports are just like, no, you know, we're this. What is this champion? It has a bad laning phase. It doesn't contribute too much. It takes too much time to ramp up. Has a very weird play pattern. It's completely different to almost anything in the game.
Yeah. And also alongside an Aphelios, because Aphelios isn't that great on his own. If you leave him alone, it's not like the Ezreal where he can just keep himself safe. He's going to get dived. He's going to get jumped on if you roam around. That's exactly what Bard wants to do.
Yeah, Bard wanting to create pressure all around the map, and Suning so far, you know, they have semblances of building this teamfight composition with the Aphelios in the backline and Trundle providing that peel. WE just going back towards, like you said, all about the engage, right? We have Thresh, we have Jarvan, we expect to see some sort of high damage mid laner coming out. We do still have the Aurelion still open, the Rumble and Syndra both there as well.
Yeah, the Galio obviously banned away there by Suning, which is one of the signature picks for Teachama in case you're new around here. The Azir, though, going to be removed by WE. And honestly, with a Jarvan there, I'd love to just see the Rumbles from WE. We've seen it before, it's something Teachama can play, and it's a great combo.
The Rumble or the Syndra, if the Syndra doesn't get banned, Jomung did look much better on that in playoffs, so just a champion that doesn't have many real weaknesses, strong at all points in the game, offers so much good CC. Again, you think about a Syndra ultimate onto a Bard, and he's pretty much just deleted.
Yeah, well, the Rumble was banned away in the end, so we don't get the spicy hot pot. But an Aatrox lock in there for Morgan, going for the blind pick top instead.
Yeah, and I'd say it's quite perplexing just for the fact that you don't think of Teachama as the player who's going to counterpick, right? Again, he has a Aurelion Sol left, you have Syndra, he's played the Nocturne, he's played the Diana as well. That's a pretty shallow pool to pick your options from.
And also picks that he's played like once or twice with varying success, but Angel is going to blind pick the Kassadin.
I expected them just to take away the Syndra once again. Angel looked fine on it, but actually Angel is undefeated on this in spring. He's 5-0.
True. I mean, he looks great on the Kassadin. I'm not criticizing Angel's Kassadin. I'm just criticizing blind picking Kassadin in general.
And it's, again, their compositions is coming together so strange.
Partly, I think that this is essentially calling out Teachama, saying, look, you're not the guy that's going to counterpick me, so I'm safe to do this.
I would have liked to see some sort of heavy engage option in the top side for them, but again, we look at Suning's composition right now, and okay, sure, Teachama picked as Aurelion Sol, we'll just kind of brush over that, but for Suning, again, you have Trundle and Aphelios who kind of want to kite back and have more room to work in these team fights, while Kassadin flanks for the backline, and Renekton fits somewhere awkwardly as a meat shield for the Aphelios, so again, the piece is kind of strange.
It's a little disjointed, but I think that Bard in some ways kind of fixes that up. His ultimate makes fights disjointed by default, so maybe that makes it a comfort
That's
zone.
where Bard fits in a lot of compositions, right, is you're very reliant on the skill of the Bard player, which I guess that's just how Bard's kit and play pattern works in general, but again, as a champion, we don't typically know Sword Art 4. He's really going to have to step up and show us what he's got.
We'll have to see what Sword Art's Bard is made of on the other side of the board, though, once again. WE going with quite an aggressive composition. They very much want to group up, want to go for the fights. The Aatrox getting in the backline. The A-Sol for Teachama once again alongside this Jarvan in the jungle.
And of course, we already know Suning's composition scales amazingly. They have the Kassadin, they have the Aphelios.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all you need. We don't even need to mention things like a Trundle.
I mean, that was the question we brought up, right? When we first came back from the break, we were saying, hey, look, Suning, just go back to the scaling style. Don't go for these mid-game fights, because that is WE's strength. I actually like this. I like it. Granted, it's a bit of a weird composition from Suning, but ultimately it scales exceptionally well. If they do get to the late game, they're going to look amazing.
And for WE, we know they do have a lot of mid-game team-fighting power. Even Aurelion Sol, I mean, you were talking about this off-air. In the early laning phase, especially level 1, A-Sol, if you do take Electrocute, is quite strong.
Certainly can be a bit of a bully, but it's time for game number 2 as we jump on Summoner's Rift once again. Suning up against Team WE. And WE, I mean, looking dominant, it has to be said, in game number 1. Suning unable to contest them, unable to fight for those Rift Heralds early on, and the gold lead just snowballing for WE. This time around, Suning, I'd expect even less contention when it comes to the early objectives, but they can come into their own once Angel gets a couple of items.
That is fair. We need to see, again, 2 items where you can really start even posturing to contest, and that Thread mark where we know Kassadin, well, Kassadin's going to be level 16, right? But for the Aphelios, that Thread mark where he just becomes a monster who's going to take over this game. If this game does go late, everything is on Jomung's shoulders.
But Jomung has been in that position before. It feels like a lot of the compositions that WE builds are like, look, Jomung, you're the late game. Everyone else, we're going to fight for the mid game, fight for the early game, and get you a gold lead to win with later on.
And we do see Teachama going towards the Electrocute. It was the rune he tended to go more towards last year. We have seen him go towards the Phase Rush in some matchups lately, but I like this rune a lot, especially with your, well, ever since your W got changed to where the stars speed up once you activate it. Yeah. It's just so easy to proc that Electrocute and get that damage down.
And also, just adds lane dominance, right? When you're against the Kassadin, what do you need? Lane dominance. You've got to shut him down before he gets strong. So I completely agree.
And for the side of WE, this game's going to be like a lot of WE games, right? We expect them to mid-jungle move to a side. Aurelion Sol just wants to not really interact much with laning phase and constantly move, while Jarvan wants to do the same thing. Of course, since Kassadin is so immobile, if Beishang can find a gank, that avenue is always there.
So talk to me a little bit about this ASOL, though, because it's not really, well, it wants to roam in the same way that, like, the Pantheon does. It's not really the same style of champion, and it does feel a bit more item-reliant.
He's very strange in the fact that in early laning phase, he is very strong. But especially since you do typically go towards the Rod of Ages first, you do go into that a bit of a power trough in early mid-game. And even in team fights, you function much differently to where you kind of are a middle line champion. Not exactly engaging, but kind of peeling with your AD carry.
Beishang has found SOFM on his red buff right now. Smite's available. SOFM gets it in the end, but he's knocked up. Sword Art's here. So is Teachama. Everyone arriving. In come the planets. Missing doesn't have the damage. Beishang exhausted. Can they finish the kill? SOFM gets away with his life and his red buff.
Yeah, so the fact that SOFM can still keep the red buff, and WE were the ones who dedicated so many resources, I'd say is a pretty nice win for the side of Suning.
Really nicely done, and it means that in the meantime, Angel gets to just quietly farm away in that mid lane. Teachama using his heal there as well.
So small win on the side of Suning, and now both teams just going to trade Scuttle Crabs, of course. Suning strong on the top side. We already know Bin's going to be a monster in this lane, and Jomung and Missing going to have pressure with the fact that they do have that engage potential on the Bard from the Thresh.
They've always got that potential to make the play happen. We can see a little replay. Nice. Oh, no. Oh, that is heartbreaking for Missing. Goes for the flash hook, but the little stone bro in the way denies everything.
I want to see if Beishang looks for a gank mid here, because we do see the wave looks like it's pushing back to Teacherma.
They might try and make a dive happen onto Morgan here. There is a minion wave. As SOFM finishes these Krugs off. But after that minion wave is cleared out, could maybe try and make something happen. Might be a bit risky against Aatrox, though. Oh, he's going to go in. Damage onto Morgan here. Corrupting Chains as well, but Morgan just straight up losing that trade. I'm surprised Bin didn't try and finish off the kill there.
Yeah, he had no more cooldowns, but he was just respecting.
Just an auto.
But still, he was respecting the fact that Beishang would be there from the fact that Morgan went for such an aggressive trade. Because you even look at Vision topside, he doesn't have any wards.
So it's mind games, I see. Well, fair play to Bin playing around the potential of a jungler. I don't believe in the minimap personally, so I try and avoid such high-level play.
I'm sorry.
That was a joke lyric.
I'm trying to. I'm sorry, Montrose. I'm looking at the mini-map trying to see if he was actually showing on a ward, but you know, your jokes are pretty good.
Was that pity? Thank you so much.
Kind of.
Well, I like my jokes, and I'm, you know, whatever. Moving on. They're going to go towards the dragon here. Beishang started this one off in favor of WE. Last time around, we saw them forfeit both of the early dragons. They were focusing much more on the Rift Heralds. This time, though, they're the ones in control.
Look, Lunchables, I'm going to be frank with you.
Do
Suning aren't going to
I thought you were Jordan, not Frank.
I'm sorry. You know, right now I'm frank. So I'm going to be frank with you. For the next, 10 minutes, I don't expect Suning to do absolutely anything.
Based on that last games, for the next 40 minutes, I don't expect Suning to do anything.
Hey, but once we do hit that 40-minute mark.
That's when Angel will finally hit level 16. Do some damage. He's going in, and Teachama takes the tower shot there, actually. That's not a trade. Angel's doing a great job of staying even in CS. There's Morgan. He's feeling the pressure. Dominus from Bin. He's a whole level up, and Morgan's in trouble. Still has flash available. Morgan it's a knock up and keeps himself safe. I really feel like Bin could be just a little bit more aggressive.
I honestly feel like Bin just keeps walking forward with auto attack.
John on damage isn't there. The death sentence land.
Yeah. On the point, just auto attacks out of Morgan by holding the thread of the Q, and then again, you want a summoner spell. That's all you really need. If you can then flash shade and get the kill, it's an even better win.
Yeah, I genuinely think that even if you can't get a kill, you could have took a couple of turret shots. Morgan's not going to be able to kill you underneath the tower right there. He was full HP with Dominus procced.
And I mean, his
like,
build.
we're being pretty aggressive towards Bin here. He is still almost double the CS of Morgan, so he's still doing pretty great.
True, we shouldn't criticize Bin so harshly, but look at his build. He's like going for like a win more style. He just stacked up a bunch of longswords in that lane. Finally does get that executioner calling, so it's going to come out even more ahead in these trades against Morgan.
And honestly, he needs to be winning that lane as well, because you'd expect Tichama to start to really bully in that mid lane. But Angel's actually doing a really good job to stay relatively even.
One thing I want to see now that we've seen Angel blow the TP in mid is we've seen Tichama constantly push him into turret. So I want to see Tichama and Beishang link up and gank Bin when he's looking for those aggressive plays, because Angel can't follow now with TP.
And we all know that Morgan needs the help. Morgan's had to use that TP to get back into lane. Customarily, he likes to save that. He likes to go for a fight around Dragon, use the TP to make that happen. But his team got the Dragon. They didn't need to use any kind of teleport plays.
No, but right now, Suning gonna put down a bit of control on the map. We just saw Angel get a ward and sort of clearing out the blasting plant. Ooh, just nice dodge.
Nice dodge there, and the stun could come on through Jomon. Pretty low, but there's an ignite onto Huanfeng. He's going to be able to dish out damage onto Missing, though, and now he turns around. The shurikens are terrifying. They are going to fall off now. We'll have the lifesteal, though, from the Severum. And ultimately, once the cooldowns are gone, the summoners are gone on the side of WE. This 2v2 is looking good for Suning.
Yeah, I think Suning played it really well because we saw how that 2v2 goes. If Jomon was able to hit his abilities, WE would have won out, but great sidestepping coming out from Suning.
Angel will jump away with his Rift Walk there. Tichama just shoving things out in the mid lane. In the meantime, Bin and SOFM trying to finish off this Herald. Beishang's coming in. Morgan's here already. And this is actually going to be a 3v3 right here. Angel getting onto Tichama. They've jumped onto the Herald. They're committing to this one. Oh no, it was Suning that got the smite.
SOFM.
But WAE, they can gatekeep this one. They can stop the Herald going over. So it's a nil points across the board.
Yeah, pretty much nothing happens, but you look at the bottom lane turret, Huanfeng is actually getting plates, and it looks like Jomong's losing CS. I mean, he's definitely losing CS if Huanfeng's getting plates.
He's definitely losing some CS here. This might be a third plate to Huanfeng as well if we just finish off this wave and get one auto in.
But he does have the Calibrum, so should be quite easy.
In the meantime, they're going to be taking plates in the top side as well. Morgan holding onto the minion wave. Well played by him. Now he's going to get dived. Can he survive? Flash finally comes on through. Bin's tanking the tower, and he's low. Here comes Beishang, and it's turned around. First blood WE.
Great confidence play coming out from Morgan. Still, Suning not able to execute on the dive is a bit unfortunate, but still, the pace of this game still feels pretty good for Suning.
I could like hear Morgan's thoughts while he's holding the minion wave. He's like, please Beishang, please Beishang, please Beishang. Why don't you have Moby Boots? I need you here right now. Look at him.
Yep, so he holds it. We do see that Beishang is holding up. Renekton goes in, but SOFM actually tanking the turret the whole time, so not able to do anything, not able to lay down a Q or an auto. I feel like they could have been a bit more patient.
Yeah. I mean, they obviously knew that Beishang was on the way. Maybe just felt like they had to rush this one down. It's not going to pay off, though. And nicely done by Morgan to understand the situation and play so beautifully around it.
And he does have Ninja Tabai and Kindle Gem already, so going to be a bit more safe in that top lane.
Considering there's not really been that much action on either side of the board, Beishang has a 20 CS lead over SOFM in the jungle. That's kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah. Beishang doing it's a good job, right? But we do want to see them be more proactive on the map. We already set up that play that they could have made on top side earlier on, trying to abuse Bin. We're obviously not going to see that now because now it is all about this dragon, but WE trying to buy some more time because Morgan's TP still isn't up.
I love watching Tichama on this A-Sol. I love just like trying to figure out how exactly the champion works, because it's so rare that you get to see A-Sol play in the way that he CS's, the way he positions, and the way he trades. Because he is honestly one of the A-Sol masters, because there are so few people that play it. Here we go, nice pillar onto Beishang. Stun isn't quite going to land, though. Means that everyone backs away. Morgan now feeling a bit more confident in this 1v1. Really great trade onto Bin, but now it's Bin's turn. Cooldowns ticking away here. It trades a lot of damage back on in. That was his Dominus used though. Teachama chasing them away. Cloud Drake on the map. It's WE in position right now. Both AD carries still in the bottom lane.
If Suning want to go for a fight, again, it's all on Sword Art finding a great Tempered Fate.
Morgan just going to be, once again, trying to clear away these waves away from the turrets so that there's no shenanigans available here. SOFM, Cataclysm keeps him in. Still has his flash available. He wants to try and get the dragon, but it's not going to happen. Beisheng still alive, but in comes Kassadin. Angel wants to pick up kills. Nice flash from Beisheng, keeps him safe. Now Huanfeng is left on his own. Sword Art couldn't get to him, and WE get the dragon and a double.
WE forcing the objective. Their composition is much stronger right now, and they come out ahead in the fight.
Really nicely done there from WE. They're going to get themselves a minuscule gold lead, but importantly, 2 Drakes back-to-back, and once again, the Infernal Soul will come through.
Exactly. That's probably the most important part, and we've been seeing that so much these past few days where in spring, again, it was still very new, so teams weren't really hard playing around Dragons as much as it seems like they are these past 2 days.
Yeah, even MSC as well. Dragon's basically taken on cooldown.
So we see Beisheng go in on SOFM, but the Tempered Fate comes out so late. SOFM's already pretty much dead, and then it's a numbers advantage for WE, and they just end up finding the kill on Huanfeng, who's left by himself.
Yeah, I mean, Huanfeng, fair play to him to go in, try and support the jungler, but I don't think that was a winnable fight at that point.
Like we said, where was Sword Art? Where was the ultimate? If the call was to fight, we need to see a really clutch, again, 2-3-man Tempered Fate to start that off.
Yeah, try and deny everything that WE wants to do during that fight, but wasn't able to do it.
I'm so happy, Munchables, because we're
Nice.
finally
I'm glad for you.
getting... Thanks, man. We're finally getting a Blade of the Rune King Renekton in LPL.
Uh-oh, Morgan is in a whole lot of trouble, and it's from that Blade of the Rune King Renekton, but here comes the rest of the squad. Suning are here. Beisheng, I don't think you should have gone in on this one, because you are well and truly outnumbered. And it's all down to the Blade of the Rune King. Double kill for Bin. There's the Tempered Fate you were asking for. And Teachama gets stunned up. Voicelite is going to do all but nothing. Teachama will fall, and it's a kill for Angel.
They weren't only outnumbered, like you just said, but they're also playing around Suning's strong side of the map, which is that Renekton. He is winning 30 CS, and again, we don't see Blade of the Rune King Renekton too often here in LPL. It is much better in these isolated duels. Does also give Renekton a bit of a scaling option too, because you do get that, you know, HP damage coming out.
Also, it helps you with split pushing, right?
Yep.
If you want to go for towers, getting the extra attack speed and the extra AD, really, really helpful. Also, on your W, you get 3 procs of the Blade of the Rune King, 3 procs of the % damage, which is always nice.
Munchables, the Blade of the Rune King expert here in the LPL.
I played a lot of AD carry.
Still, WE able to get the bottom lane turret, so gold still relatively close, about 1.5k in Suning's favor.
Look at that Ace all CSing. I don't know why I find it so exciting to watch, but he got all of them.
I don't know why you find it so exciting either, but we do see pings going down for the Herald at this point. If Suning's still opting to keeping Bin on the top side of the map, they should have pressure for that.
I have just noticed, despite me crediting Teachama with Ace all CSing, he's actually 30-odd, almost 40-odd CS down currently, so maybe shouldn't be complimenting him on that right now, because it's actually not been going that well.
We did see that one, I think it was when they started Dragon, and where Angel was just farming mid for free and Teachama was hovering around the Dragon, so we have seen some instances like that.
Morgan is not having a fun time. This game flashes away. Keeps himself safe at least, but in the meantime, that Herald is going to go the way of Suning. And there's not really much of an answer from WE. Jomung will be able to jump away to safety on the Lantern. Just trying to do whatever damage he can. In fact, he doesn't even need the Lantern. Just bullies them both out of the lane. But the question will be, where does Suning go with this Herald to continue to accelerate a bit of a lead that they've found for themselves?
If Suning can open up mid, that's always great. But actually with the composition they have, since they do have a lot of side lane threat coming out from both Bin with the Blade of the Rune King and Angel on the Kassadin, even just going and dropping that down in bot, the turret's already quite low, so maybe you wouldn't go there. But opening up longer side lanes will be benefit for Suning.
Certainly will, especially with this Renekton, with this Kassadin. But you got to look towards the AD carries as well, and the points at which these guys are going to come online. Because Jomung, when he hits, he's already hit that 2-item power spike already. When that Muramana does finish stacking up, and when he gets a death stance, he becomes massive. Morgan is in trouble once again. Flash from Bin, but he still gets knocked up. And now he's stuck inside a Cataclysm. The whole squad is here. Bin's outnumbered and taken down.
And this was just Bin being over-aggressive. We've actually seen both top laners make some mistakes.
This is what you called for. This is exactly what you asked him to do. Punish Bin when he gets aggressive.
That's true. So WE making the right play. I was going to say, we just need to see Suning answering around the map, but Suning are doing that. So, great job, Suning.
Nice. Well, you say that, Bin did go down, and right now they're going to lose themselves an Infernal Drake. So WE feeling pretty good on the back of this trade. Where's SOFM at? Oh, he's in the mid lane. He's just going to drop Herald and move away.
And the game dynamic is much different this time around, to where we said last game, hey, even if they do get an Infernal Soul, you look across the map, I think it was WE that time, we're like, WE is still so tanky, can you burst them down? Well, if WE can get an Infernal Soul, I don't know how much it'll matter that Suning do outscale them. It'll probably still matter because it's an Aphelios and a Kassadin, but you will have the damage to burst these members down before they even know what hit them.
Yeah, and it certainly helps Morgan as well when it comes to this 1v1 between Renekton and Aatrox. Certainly, an Infernal Soul skews that a little bit more in favor of WE.
Well, I want to go back and touch on something you talked about with Jomung and, you know, his build, and he is going to hit that Death Stance, but one of the great things about this build once you go Death Stance and Iceborne Gauntlet is, you know, right, that level of protection and how you can just kite out the enemy team, but he's going to have a really hard time kiting out the Kassadin no matter what, so it doesn't really matter the specifics of this new build, because if Angel can get in his face, Jomung should just be dead.
That's one of the big benefits, though, of this Shirelias that you see come out from Missing. He's got the Lantern, he's got movement speed to give his AD carry. So much of that interaction is going to be about Missing rather than Joel.
Yep, yes it is. So kind of key, we're going to have to keep our eyes on Angel and Bin on the side of Suning. And again, as the game goes on, it's going to be all about Jomung and Missing for the side of WE.
So now everyone grouping up once again. Baron up in a minute. I don't really feel like either team is a particularly great Baron taking team. Worth mentioning, Jomung has finished his Muramana though, so he's actually going to hit pretty hard now.
I do want to say, though, any team is a great Baron-taking team if it has Aphelios, so I completely disagree.
Yeah. But, I mean, I guess in a grouped scenario.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You are a group. You have numerous guns. They kind of take the place of each of your teammates.
A group of moon-based worshippers that are just praying that Aphelios does enough on his own.
They
He does, generally.
They just need to be the bodies that absorb the Baron damage as they spam taunt or laugh or something. That's enough.
Angel there to zone him away. I can believe it. But on the other side of the board, generally speaking, WE are pretty good when it comes to awareness of these objectives. Objectives are the bread and butter for WE, right? This is how they play the game. So the odds of you sneaking a Baron away against WE seems pretty low.
That is true. And we're at the point where Suning's comp is kind of turned into this 1-3-1 setup, so going to be all about...
Ooh, Missing's found a pick onto Angel here. Jump forward from Jomung. You said it was Angel that would be chasing Jomung. It's the other way around right now.
It definitely is, and man, that was just a great hook coming out from Missing.
Oh, it's not enough damage. Well, it was